Welcome to another episode of 40K Fanatics. We're at the NEA Game Fest last week. We didn't play any 40K at all.
We actually didn't. I thought you played 40K.
No, I didn't play 40K. You didn't play 40K.
I almost did. Did you see those prizes?
It was a lot of prize support, and I want to talk about that. In our main topic today, we're going to talk about our experience with Game Fest and explore a little bit of what it would take and just all that goes into putting on an event that way. And then at the end of the show, I was like a proper media member. This is Shane. That's Casey, by the way. And I interviewed Kier Heil, who was the miniature gaming coordinator of the entire 4-day event.
The Brain Trust, right?
I mean, he put it together and has been putting it together along with a committee of people. I mean, a small village of dedicated team members as well as dozens of volunteers. It was a huge undertaking.
It was insane.
And we'll get into it.
Bits box first?
After the Bits box. Open it up. You want to go first? I took the entire intro from you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. So let's talk about
what
the
have you
Bits
done
box.
in the hobby this week?
What we've been doing in the hobby. So mainly, we did the games tournament, and it was awesome. But aside from that, we've been blowing up on the socials. Lots of people have been getting involved with our stuff. A lot of people have been asking questions. Nothing crazy. Like I said last week, we got mention from the official Warhammer Twitter when I posted a librarian model. And I've been finishing up this Dark Angels army. I've got 2 models left.
Just 2.
Just 2. It's roughly 1,000 points. And I am psyched because now I can get back to my stuff. You know?
Yeah, don't you have a bunch of space dinosaurs from Age of Sigmar to paint?
I sold those, actually.
Oh, you sold those?
Yep, made a nice profit.
Nice.
And I'm pretty happy about it.
I'll let you go because you have more, but to stick some of mine in there, because we spoke briefly of Age of Sigmar. Last week I talked about how my Night Haunt is possibly the wrong army for your boy.
Go to Twitter to see some photos of Megan Trainor. Wait, Shane's Night Haunts.
I was all about that base the other night, doing these. I'll be honest, I don't know. I can't keep any of the unit names straight. There are ghosts with size.
I Googled it and I still can't remember.
There are ghosts with swords.
Bendergast.
It's ghosts with various weapons, right? And these are the ghosts with swords, and I had not been loving them, and they're the first whole unit that have the airbrush fade on them. But I wasn't loving them until I got the bases on, and the basing scheme is super simple. It's just mud, a bit of grass, not completely grass, but it's like spotty grass, a grass tuft, and a flower, right? And, man,
looks pretty good.
If it did not just sort of congeal the whole thing together.
Brought the whole piece together, yeah.
And make them look good. And so I'm like, well, maybe there is money in this.
The purple flowers and the purple capes.
The purple flower, the purple cape.
I don't know what you've been complaining about. They look good.
I know. They look fine, don't they?
Yeah.
I was tripping.
So my other thing is, after the competition this past weekend over at the Gamers Fest, which was pretty great from what I hear, the local community decided to put together a league, kind of like a bowling league, and me and Shane are in it.
We will be playing games for that.
2K over the next 2 months, get a game in every 2 weeks, which I think is pretty convenient. I mean, I honestly felt bad for those dudes the other day. 36 hours to play 2K games with 12 people?
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody played 5 games, and it was a full day's work on Saturday.
That's at least 10 hours on your feet.
Yeah, and Sunday it was I tell you what, on Sunday for the second day there were a lot of people pulling up chairs. You got
shout out to Dallas Nash.
Well, you got nothing to prove. Like, what are we doing? Trying to stand up? It was carpeted there, which was a huge help. Because if that had been concrete shop floor, there had been people falling out.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this league because I'm going to be running my 2K Orcs, and with how casual it's going to be, it makes me feel more confident to get my reps in and get practice and get back into 10th and really learn how to get it down and pat. So I'm a guy who needs practice to be good. I don't remember. It's all muscle memory. So, yeah. That's my bits box.
You gotta work out your thinking meat muscle.
Yeah.
What
That's
else
reserved
do
for
I
painting,
have?
sir. Painting and lore.
The painting competition at the NEA Game Fest did not go our way. Gary the GIF did not place, and
neither did my Primaris captain.
No, and they were kind of back to back. I mean, you beat me, so you're the better painter, and
by like 5 points, I think.
And I have to live with that forever.
I just have the template for the results.
You have
right.
your painting scores right here. I hope everyone can hear him rustle papers.
Yeah, we're here in the grimdark painting studio of mine.
It is so dark. I don't know how you paint anything.
It's grimdark.
You're gonna go blind, boy.
Yeah, the Raven Guard love this painting studio.
It was good. What else did I do? Oh my gosh! So I primed. I mean, join me for another segment of priming things white.
Ooh,
right in Shane's life. 3 coats.
Gray is the brightest I'll go.
3 coats of white to get Lady Olinda and the Scriptor Mortis white enough that I feel like I can now go through and put my various airbrushed fades on them both, and then paint them up. So that is what I've done hobby-wise, except for one thing.
Well, one thing.
Let's leave the bits box cracked ever so slightly, okay? As we regale you with the tales of our goings-on at the NEA Game Fest over last Thursday through Sunday. I attended, at least briefly, every day. And I believe it was on Friday night. That was the day you were there. That was painting contest day.
It was awesome.
We played the
Gaslands. Yeah.
All right, so
Hot Wheels.
It's a death race game. So if you've heard the movie, that's what it is.
It's Twisted Metal. Ah, jinx.
All you got to do is it's got some special dice. It's got a hardcover rule book, which is really nice. By our playing the demo, our names got entered into a drawing, and ya boy won the drawing. So I got all these templates. That's the big thing about it, is there are all these...
You got decals, you got the book.
Yeah, there are all these plastic templates that you use to measure the movement of your cars, right?
And you got all that.
And I got all that. And I played some yesterday after reading through the rules and figuring out the sort of... list building. I wanted to say army creation, but you pretty well play with 2, 3, or 4 cars if you want to play like the full-size game, right? And you can have as many teams of players as you want. So, you and me and another guy can all play 2 cars each. You got 6 cars out there, and that's how I played it yesterday over at local game store Gamers Haven with the homie Austin, the homie Gabe, and I had my super fast sports car, my McLaren, because I also won a whole set of Hot Wheels cars, and then I went out and I bought some other Hot Wheels cars. Also,
I love how low rent that is, by the way.
Oh my gosh! And
all you do is get some freaking Hot Wheels you can buy at a gas station, slap some bits on it, and then just go. That's awesome.
We didn't even have any bits on anything at this stage because.
But did you glue the one wheel?
I did not glue any wheels. We were, in fact, none of us had our wheels glued. We were rolling all over the place. We need to glue a wheel, at least one wheel.
So you were rocking a McLaren.
I had a McLaren, and I had a Volvo 240 wagon, which I said had a Ram on the front, and you don't have to model the Ram on the front of a Volvo. Real ballers know.
Boy, if those cars don't say something about your personality.
Absolutely. And we played 3 games. Austin played a couple of pickup trucks. He's gonna bubba them up, and it's gonna be great. At one point, Gabe busted out a monster truck, and it wrecked shop until we blew it up. And fun was had by all. I mean, we played 3 games over the course of 2.5 hours, and just made the racetracks out of random terrain pieces that we had at the shop there, and it was really good. So. I've got to find some mini guns to go on the side of the Volvo, and I need to find a big, 50 cal on a turret to go in the bed of a truck for my other little team.
Like a Browning.
Now we can close the bits box, shut the door on it. So, at the Game Fest, we played that. It was excellent. The guy,
it was a lot of fun. It was simple. We actually got done in like 45 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah, the guy that was putting it on, he it was a funny way to run.
Dude,
a demo.
we sat there with our eyes just glazed over while he explained every single rule. And then as soon as we got into the game, it was just seamless.
Yeah, I mean,
he was like, "Have you played tabletop games before?" And we're like, "Yes."
Yeah, we play the big one. This is easy. But yeah, it was weird because he gave. I mean, it was a 5-minute straight filibuster on every rule, and then he's like, "Okay, that's it." I was like, "Thank God," but I don't know how many people are keeping up with that.
Yeah, and then we got into it.
And then we got into it, and he kind of walked us through a turn, and then we were just running them. And my little fast car just nearly lapped your truck with the rocket on it.
Yeah, like you took a big left turn from the gate, and I sprinted towards the next line, and then all of a sudden, here you come out of nowhere and just lap me.
Ripping by. Let me tell you, that is really fun with more than 2 people, too. It was really good. So
we managed to get like 5 minutes to where I put in my tickets for the door prizes, and we got to see the painting result. No, was it the painting results or the speed painting competition?
Both. I mean, we saw all of it.
Yeah. Which one do you want to talk about next?
I want to talk. You know what? I kind of want to talk about just the scale of the event.
Yeah, it was pretty big, a lot bigger than I thought, but not like as big as like the big cons.
No, certainly not as big as the big cons. But you know, for those that don't know, Jonesboro is a 80,000 population town,
college town, a little bit.
Yeah, and there weren't any college kids at this thing, but there were a ton of people. It was far and away the biggest that they've ever had. And with exception of, I think, 2020 when the Rona was in the streets, they've had it for the last 5 or 6 years. And as I said, this is the biggest one. This is the first one that they had a 40K GT at.
I think I talked to, who did you say his name was?
Keir Heil.
Keir. I talked to him Friday at the end of everything, and I asked him how much he had raised. He actually offered to buy my ticket for the next day. Let me tell you that first. But he said they had raised around $5,000, and we're still counting.
Yeah, he posted on the social medias, and I want to say it might have ended up at $8,400 or something to the Friends of the Library charity.
That'll keep the library going.
Yeah, it was good, and
get him a nice car.
I mean, it was wild. So it was $50, and that got you 4 days worth of all the gaming you could stand. They were starting stuff at 9 o'clock in the morning and going till midnight, and then ending at 5 on Sunday. And you walk in, and they hand you. So this is the kind of stuff that I want to get into with the main topic. Is just the complexity of putting on something like this.
Oh, okay.
You walk in, and they give you. You tell them your name. They've got you on a list. They hand you a printed name badge so that everybody can see who everybody is. And then they hand you 5 door prize tickets that you go up to a stand and put however many tickets you want for whatever prize that you like. And then there's multiple drawings throughout the day for those prizes. And then the prizes get re-upped, and then it's a new set, right?
Yeah.
And it's that way 4 days straight. And right there.
And it's a very relaxed atmosphere, surprisingly.
Right, but right there. Who gathered together these prizes? Where did they come from? Who called and got donations for these things? There were typically 5 things and 3 drawings a day. So that's 15 things times 4 is 45 items?
50.
50 items?
Yeah,
Maths?
50 items.
And I'm just like, just the door prize raffle would be a job to put together for a weekend. And that wasn't it.
They worked really hard.
If you went to the Demo Palooza, which was Friday, when we demoed the Gaslands, and when I played, when the homie Austin ran the Gunfighters Ball.
Right. You guys played the OK Corral.
We did. We played the OK Corral shootout.
Seen straight out of Tombstone over there.
Yeah, and Austin had run it over and over as a historical reenactment, and he kept saying, I don't know how this scenario is going to last more than 15 minutes, and I'm supposed to demo this for an hour. An hour and a half later, and we had gone so far off the script.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Doc Holliday was lying dead in the corner of a
He'd been dead for
telegraph
a week.
office, having been shot through a door by one of the bad guys. I don't know all my
it looked like you were having
history.
a good time.
It was super fun. Can't wait to play more Cowboys in the near future. I might have to get some minis.
Yeah, guys, go to the Twitter. I posted photos. I'm still posting photos of the Gamers Fest, and including Shane's game of Gunslingers or was it Gunfighters?
I think it's Gunfighters.
Gunfighters, and and pictures of us playing Gaslands. So.
Yeah. So Gaslands, Gunfighter Ball. I played. Oh,
what was that space one?
That space one. Let me tell you about that space one.
I couldn't get into it. I'm sorry.
That space one was not the best game. So,
I was a total jerk, by the way,
jerk.
guys, and I'm just going to say this now and own up to it. My ADD was all over the place, and I had to go harass people and buy snacks, and as this guy was trying to explain this game to us.
You're not telling the story at all.
Okay, tell the story.
So we're going to sit down, and we're going to play a game, and we're playing off the play-to-win cabinet, which is a whole other chunk of this thing, right? They had a whole cabinet full of games, and if you played them, they would take your name down and hand you a card where you could rate the game, put your name down, and then you'd be entered to win the game at the end of the convention. So we're about to play our second one of these, and it's a resource management space game, and we've got all the bits out, and it's a lot of stuff. It was a small box, but it was more than we bargained for. And I'm like, Zach, come play. He's like, okay. He comes, he sits down, we're reading, we're making sure that we're doing the 3-player rules.
And just like when we did Gaslands, my eyes just immediately glossed over.
we weren't even 5 minutes into the explanation of what we were doing.
And
you were like, I got to go do something else. And we're like,
yeah.
And you hit us with I'll be back though.
I felt bad. Yeah, that's what made me feel bad.
Never returned. Gone.
I went to harass the judges of the painting competition because they were actually leaving. And I do not regret it. But I will cop and apologize. I do feel bad for doing that.
Somewhat fortunately, me and Matt was the other guy. He plays the Dungeons & Dragons on Thursday nights at Gamers Haven. And we did not, neither of us won that one, which we were not upset about. We did, however, I won Pit Crew. So, Matt, if you're listening to this, we can run it back on Pit Crew.
Is that Gaslands or was it?
No, Pit Crew is a card game. It comes in a really tiny box, and it's got like those little mini decks of cards.
Oh.
It's like a variant of War.
Oh.
But then there's a racetrack
card game.
and
Okay,
some
yeah.
cars. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was fine, and so it's at the house. So for my $40, because I bought my ticket online early, I ended up with a couple of things.
Yeah, you got your money's worth.
I got my money's worth.
Yeah, and then
and again, I was there hanging out, killing time, 4 days straight. On Saturday, they had the LARPers out.
Really?
They had the LARPers out with all their gear.
Were they like D&D LARPers or just LARPers?
I mean, they were dudes fighting with foam swords. I mean, I don't know.
In the hotel?
No, they were doing it out on the lawn in the heat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, they were given the demo and trying not to knock over any decorative vases, I imagine. But it was just wild how much stuff was going on. I really wanted to play some sort of a Dungeons & Dragons game that there were role-playing games going on constantly, but over the weekend, on Thursday I had to play piano, on Friday I had to run karaoke, or Saturday I had to run karaoke, which is my quote-unquote job. And so the times just never lined up because for the D&D one-shots, you need a block of like 4 hours. But there were so many cool things going on.
They were doing D&D one-shots?
They were doing tons of D&D.
Dude.
And not only D&D, they were doing...
Did you play Jerry?
They were doing other role-playing things. No, I didn't get to play any D&D.
Yeah,
I couldn't get it to fit. However... I did play during the Demopalooza a game of Dragon Quest.
Ooh.
I think Dragon Quest, right? Hero Quest. Hero Quest.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest is the one that I played back.
I love the box for
back
Hero
in
Quest.
the party. Well, let me tell you, the stuff in the box is unbelievable. It
Really?
comes with so many miniatures. I didn't realize it came with so much.
Do go on.
It came with dozens of open and closed doors. It came with furniture. It came with knickknacks and paddywhacks and giving dogs bones. It came with character cards. It came with a male and female version of every player character. This is the base game I'm talking about.
So you could just pick a race and it's just...
Well, you
male
just pick a character and it
like
does what it
D&D
does.
Or WoW.
Yeah, I guess. But it was so fun. It was so simple. It took 45 minutes to run through the dungeon because all it is a dungeon crawl, and it's a great way to do a dungeon crawl. And let me tell you, those miniatures for mass-produced, the
big
boxed game miniatures,
yeah,
you could paint them. They were sharp. They were crunchy. And I just thought, man,
they had depth.
Yeah, I need to find me a box of Hero Quest just to have and paint all that stuff up.
Shout out to the fan base. If you guys out there want to donate a Hero Quest box for us to paint.
Yeah, I bet you that Hero Quest these days run you $150.
God.
Which, I would pay $150 for it because it would be really fun for all the people that...
Try to get me a combat patrol.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty of 40K army right now.
That's fair.
I do have to get my Age of Sigmar done, and then I've got to start buying more 40K because I'm out of stuff to paint. Well, Casey is speechless right now.
I mean,
he's speechless.
I'm not speechless. I mean, when you're a solid painter and you've got the practice in, and you just enjoy the hobby, eventually you're going to run out. My pile of shame is like barely anything.
Yeah, that's true. You do be moving stuff out.
Yeah, I'm a hustler. I got to be shipping that shit out. Shipping that stuff out.
Oh, let me mark that edit we got to make at
22
minutes. 22 minutes. I'll forget about that. Sorry, kids. What else happened at NEA Game Fest? The painting competition.
Let's talk about it.
I liked it. I liked...
man, there were some really good models.
There were a couple of really good models.
What was it? Zach, who painted his Thousand Sons? He said he painted his Thousand Son Terminator and that morning and turned it in. And I think he did well. I think he did right on par with us, but I don't want to say he placed. But his was very considered to be one of the top tier.
Yeah, local Nathan's Tau, some sort
Commander
of...
Farsight.
Oh, is that Commander Farsight himself?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know anything about
I think it's
Tau.
the old sculpt. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's a Riptide.
But he's got him seated, which I think is like some custom modeling action.
Yeah, he had clean, some very good flash like tint on that sword. It's kind of the eye drawing part of the model. And then you had that Slaneshi Demon Prince. Man, did you see that thing?
I don't think I did.
Ooh.
Was it good?
It was really good. It was really good. Great lighting effect on the wings, detail on the armor. It was nice.
Nice.
And not too pink or purple. It was subtle. And it was that matte that we were talking about earlier that I like. So, there you go.
Yeah.
And you had Jerry the Jiff.
Jerry the Jiff.
I think I came
Gary
in like
the GIF.
I came in like 4th or 5th. And then, no. Austin, 3rd?
Yeah, Austin got 3rd.
Yeah, a guardsman with a banner. Looks pretty good.
Another really clean paint job.
And his paint job's more like yours. He paints was very similar to how you paint, from what I could see. You know.
Well, yeah, I think that it's a little bit dude in human, human in human clothes, and hippo man in human clothes. Is kind of the point of intersection there. Let's talk about the GT, because I was there.
I was just going to throw.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to throw one thing out. So with the painting competition, it was awesome. Everybody thought Nathan was going to win, but I think I gave them a good run for their money, and I'm going to own up to it. When I heard that I didn't even place, it kind of broke my heart. For like 10 minutes, I was pretty hard, but I realized, you know what? It's okay. This is what it's all about. This is my first painting competition, and the judges were picked randomly. So who knows if they know anything about 40K. And funny story, I got with the judges later, asked them how I could do better, which is what my takeaway is. That how can I do better? Because some of these models are so well painted, and I want to do as well, if not better than them. And
so painting pod next week?
Maybe. But the funny story, the symbol on the back, if you look on the Twitter, look on the photos, guys, of my Dark Angels Primaris captain, look on the back of the cape, there's a symbol for the Dark Angels. They thought that was a decal.
Oh.
That was all freehand.
Oh.
Yeah. I was shocked when they said that to me. I was like, wait, no, that's not a decal, my man. That's freehand. I took a time with that.
That reminds me of the time.
That was a compliment without being a compliment.
Yeah, no. Me and the homies used to have a band, and we were playing VFW somewhere, Pocahontas maybe, out in the boonies, and they fired us because. Or they didn't have us back because they were like, well, we can't have a band that lip syncs.
What?
Yeah, we were using an all-digital production where the entire thing would go into a computer, and that was our soundboard and everything with no amps and electric drums. So it sounded like the radio.
Oh, no.
And they apparently thought it was the radio. So
you guys were just good at audio. So, but, yeah, the painting competition was great. The people who won really deserved to win. Nathan wasn't even there to even get his award, I think. But that's, a lot of people
he was
there.
He was there the next 2 days.
Everybody was busy because of so many things going around.
He was there the next 2 days for the GT. So they started off playing at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
I showed up, full disclosure, my life's in total disarray. I'm waking up at about 2 p.m. and getting out and about.
He's a shell of a man.
Around 3:30 or 4. And I don't know if that's an indication of anything, but it is highly inconvenient for getting to lunch on time. And so I got there after round 1 was long completed, in the middle of round 2, I think it was. And then I stayed until I had to leave to run the karaoke that night.
How were things then?
It was all kicking off. I mean, every table was full, and people were playing Star Wars Legion as well. And it was, a couple of takeaways. Dallas's Grey Knights, I don't think performed as poorly as he was afraid they would.
He was very down on his Grey Knights.
He's been super down on his Grey Knights.
Apparently, they're not doing so hot in 10th.
They're not doing so hot in 10th. They're a little bit one-trick pony in that they deep strike around the table. So they're also pointed for kind of elite units as if they were custodies or something. So you don't have many of them, and they're not very tough. And I think there's also a little bit of maybe cognitive dissonance that I'm playing an elite bunch of demon hunting, ostensibly melee elites.
Psyker.
Yeah, but the way to play them is if they're, the Void Dancer troop or whatever, and just zipping around and trying to stand on the objective before they get killed.
And then when they get the points, move them out so they don't die.
They don't actually. You can't. It doesn't seem that you can very easily impose your will with the Grey Knights.
Not as effective as previous editions.
Definitely not. However, I think he ended up 3-2.
Ooh, okay.
So he won a majority of his games.
There you go. Not bad.
I think one of them might have been a bye, so maybe he was 2-2. But anyway, I think he expected to walk in and be 0-5, and that was not the case. Also the Leagues of Votan did better for people than they expected.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
let's talk about that.
Well,
Leagues of Votan right now, a lot of people are very down because people are saying they've got so nerfed they're unplayable.
I mean, they're not unplayable because you can play them.
Yeah, well, fair.
I hate that kind of thing.
Fair.
Oh, such and such is totally unplayable. Your armies you can't even play your army.
Dude, I got my butt handed to me by some Votan like a few weeks back. So
yeah,
just saying. But how did it go for them?
I mean, it was. I think that the guys that were playing them are guys that are pretty good anyway. Not their first army type of thing. Otherwise, why would you choose Votan?
Fair.
But I don't think anybody playing Votan. There were 2 people. I don't think either of them went 0 and over. I want to say they won the majority of their games. The Thousand Suns, though, were
those Thousand Suns.
The Thousand Suns were the life of the party.
Yeah. Those Cabal points.
The homie Zach ended up playing Nathan at the end. They turned their clocks off and took their time, and it was a
They
long,
were like, "This is the last scene in an action movie. Let's go."
It was a long old game, and Zach pulled it out by a few points, and that gave him the chainsword and first pick of the wealth of prize options. I mean, let's talk about that, because the main topic is
there was some stuff, man.
There was a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
I mean, back to just the putting on a convention of this sort, right? There were different vendors every day.
Mm-hmm.
There were volunteers that were on a rotation to sell drinks and chips and stuff.
I bought some chips from a 12-year-old.
I mean, I'm just saying the scale of putting on something like this, where you have to have 9 to midnight coverage of soda sales.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine? And you're doing that with volunteer labor.
Yeah.
So how long do we think somebody would be willing to sit here for free?
Yeah.
And then do that for 4 days straight.
And you got
it's
all the
just a Herculean
donations.
Task.
All the donations from these local businesses.
Yeah, tons of that kind of thing.
The prizes, man.
The prizes were donated from all over the place.
There was like a life-size chainsword, a Flyrant, the Leviathan box, like a couple of Forge World Astra Militarum models.
Multiple game mats. And the game mats have been donated.
How much were they?
Well,
Somebody said 120.
Probably, because they were huge.
Man, they were huge.
They were huge, good-looking, the nice mouse pad neoprene-type game mats.
Yeah, with the graphics and everything.
And those had been donated by the place that they had bought game mats for the event because they didn't have enough.
Yeah, and somebody told me that you'd have to get down below 5th, 7th place before you drop below $50 worth of prizes that you won.
It was a bunch of prizes. I was there for the award ceremony and the
they look like
subsequent
they had a good time.
Prize distribution, and it was great. It was a lot of stuff, but back to the how you put something like that on.
Man, the props,
the stack of board games that they had on Thursday. By the way, I played Pokemon Master Trainer.
They have a board game for Pokemon.
Oh, this is the one from 1999, sir.
What?
Yes, they had an original copy of Master Trainer.
Wow.
And I did not win, but it was fun. That was on Thursday during the day, first day there. There was another space resource management game that I played Sunday that was very good.
When is there not?
I can't remember what it was called, but it was good. And it had a Tetris thing going on where you had to fill up rows and columns with different pieces, and you had a collection of Tetris pieces that players would take in turns to rotate, and then you'd have 2 options. So you did not always get the Tetris piece you wanted. And it was good.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh, what else? Oh, but the board game shelf.
Whole wall.
Oh, an entire wall of a conference room. Well, I mean, I say a conference room of an event hall.
Yeah.
The conference rooms were off to the side where D&D was being hosted and various other...
Yeah, I walked by the bar and you could see people like doing stuff by the bar.
And they were doing D&D games with drinks, and that would be the one that I want to sign up for next time. There was one with karaoke, and I believe that we've got a bit of explanation of that Kier gives himself, because it was he who put that on. That we'll get to at the end of the pod, which could be close to now.
Well, I'd like to talk
what
about
else do you have?
The speed painting competition.
Speed painting competition was not what you expected it to be.
It was definitely not. So I signed up a few weeks ago, and I signed up for the speed painting competition last minute, and because I saw our homie Austin, who was in the painting competition, by the way. He is a good painter, phenomenal player, and all around nice guy. And I'm like, I gotta demolish him. I just gotta go in and beat him. So I go in and sign up for this, and then the day comes. I run up last minute to the speed painting competition because we played Gaslands and we've done the painting competition and the door prizes, and all I'm seeing is me and Austin. I'm 29. I don't know how old is he, late 20s, and then a bunch of children.
It was 2 adults at the kiddie table.
There were 2 women, don't get me wrong, but they were like the babysitters for like 12, ranging from like 6 to 10-year-olds. And they were just like, grab all the paints you want, and then here's a cup of water. All these kids were like, who are these old guys, and why do they know all the names of these paints? We were given 30 minutes to paint some kind of third-party 3D print model, and me and Austin totally went great. And obviously, I did not vote for me or him because that would totally be unfair.
Oh, I thought you guys stomped out the kids.
No, it was a vote. Everybody who was there got to vote on who's there was. I got 1 vote.
You voted for yourself?
I did not. I voted for somebody else because, if I'm going against kids, but I was shocked because I was like, it's all children.
So who won?
Oh, I think it was some 12-year-old.
Was it good?
She had a very nice model. It was all orange, looked like a fox with a mouse riding it. It looked pretty dope.
It sounds way better.
And then I brought home my model, and I was like, "Hey, I'll give this to my kid, like I do with some of my really cheap, out of the way models that I don't really care about." I gave it to her. 5 seconds later, I hear a shatter.
Oh,
and I'm like, she comes to me like, "Hey, fix."
Hey, fix.
It's resin, guys.
You're like, yes, ma'am. Fix indeed.
No, not fixing that. But it was fun. I enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun. To see all these kids in the hobby like that was really cool. To know it's not just a bunch of people in their 20s and their 30s, or old heads just like playing board games and painting and having fun, and seeing it in those younger generations to see what this is all about. It was really, really awesome.
Yeah, and there were a ton of kids at the thing, and the kids pretty well played the board games and things with their parents, and there were constantly games going on, and it was just a really good event from top to bottom. I mean, huge value for money. $50 for 4 days.
I should have buckled down and got the pass. Yeah,
it was good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is.
Talk about the vendors a little bit. There were 3D print vendors, there were yarn vendors, art vendors, a lot of different people from a lot of different things, book venders, and they were just selling their merch.
In fact, I did buy a book. I bought a D&D book that is cool. It's the what is it? It's the DM's collection of random encounters, and that makes it sound like it's a big spreadsheet of random tables, but it's not. It's rollable and internally randomizable encounters in like with maps. So you can roll on a table for the outdoors and end up with a woodland sort of area.
I'll have to check that out.
With various sections that different things happen, and then you can roll to see what's in those various sections.
D&D art is so good.
Yeah, it's really good. So my Sunday D&D group is going to be getting some of those, and they're not going to know it.
Nice.
It'll be my secret, unless they listen to this podcast, which you should too. We're going to get to it was recorded separately because I'm apparently a media member now. The interview with Kier at Gamers Fest at the very end of the pod. But if we don't talk to you again, check us out on YouTube now, where the entire full-length episodes of the pod are now being posted, along with our normal Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Is Apple Music going yet, or Apple Podcasts?
I'm going to have to look into it. Man, they are not getting back to me.
Casey.
It's been some weeks, hasn't it? They said they'd get back to me.
Gotta stay on them.
Oh, man. Come on, whoever invented Apple, what was it, like Ashton Kutcher, right? Yeah?
Steve.
But, plug that interview, man.
Interview's coming up. I've been Shane.
And I'm Casey, the lore master, and he's the game master.
Who has not played any games in a week or two, but I've booked 2. I'm playing Saturday, I think.
Can't wait.
And I'm playing next Saturday when the best of the NEA League begins. Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
From the grim darkness of the far future. And
this dark painting studio. listen more, like and subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe,
Hate
re-review.
mail. See.
Yeah, and hate on us on Twitter because we appreciate that. See ya. I'm here with Keir Heil at the NEA Game Fest on the last day. It's Sunday. The 40K tournament is wrapping up, and it's huge. It's the first GT, I think, that's been done in Northeast Arkansas in quite a while, and the entire event has been spectacular, in my opinion. I've been here every day. Tons of people, tons of games. What goes into making something of this scale happen? How many meetings, how many people have been involved in putting together this kind of event?
So that's a difficult question to answer. So we have 6 coordinators, and I am just one of them, but I am the miniature game coordinator. So that's really my purview. But we, like you said, tons of games. We got board games, role-playing games. We got sponsorships and volunteering. We've got coordinators for all of those things as well, right?
Guys were LARPing outside yesterday.
Yeah. And our role-playing game coordinator organized that. He reached out to them, invited them to come in and demo. But as far as the miniature games, why it's so difficult to answer that question is because a lot of it is me reaching out to a bunch of people asking for help. But then all of those people are chipping in their time and effort and things like that, right? So we have a 40K chat of local players, and I can't count how many times I have went to them for feedback and suggestions, and would this be a good prize, and what do you think about this color scheme for the big grand prize, and every single one of them has chipped in feedback and ideas. We've gone to dice manufacturers who said, hey, if you buy this much product, we're going to donate this much dice. And last year, whenever I did that, I went and bought a few dice prizes, and they matched it and gave me some dice. This year, I went to the 40K players and said, hey, do you guys want to buy some dice? And then I'll use that to leverage dice donations. And the 40K players in the area bought so much dice that the guy actually had to write me back and said, look, I cannot physically donate this many dice to you. I'm sorry.
The shipping was going to eat him up. The 40K was great. The whole event was great. I mean, there were snacks to buy. I wanted some kind of card game that I played because there was this huge play to win shelf. The role playing is interesting. You did karaoke and D&D or D&D adjacent last night?
So it was Drunkens and Dragons is what it's marketed as. And essentially what it is I ran this last year, and it was the Oops All Barbarians version. And then it proved so popular, I think it sold out within a few minutes. So this year they wanted me to do 2. I don't think I could physically do 2 nights in a row. I would die. So instead, one of my other friends stepped up to run the Drunkens and Dragons Oops All Barbarians, and I ran one that was Drunkens and Dragons Everyone's a Bard. So what I did was I ran an all bards version, and there's, of course, a karaoke element, right? And the way it works...
Of course there's a karaoke element.
Oh, yeah. And,
like you do.
Oh, yeah. And the way it would work is at any point, almost like you're in a musical... The lights fade to black, one of the bards steps up, and they sing a song in this really critical moment, in this aside kind of a thing. And then it comes back, and whatever it was they were about to do, it's a nat 20. And boy, did they take advantage of that.
I like it. The entire thing was great. And this has been far and away the biggest NEA Game Fest yet, right?
Absolutely. We were... growing very, very steadily, and then, of course, 2020 hit, everything shuts down. We stagnated for a couple of years, and then this year, we just flat sold out of badges about halfway through the con. We had so many people that we had to overflow into other areas of the hotel to manage to hold everyone and keep all the gaming going all the time.
And the whole thing benefiting the Friends of the Library charitable organization. I don't want to say that the advent of 40K Fanatics podcast led directly to the biggest turnout ever of NEA Game Fest. However, in 2023 we started, and now it's the biggest one. So there is a correlation. There's at least a coincidence, and we can't wait to shout it out and promote it next time. And if any of our listeners have got any kind of event at this stage, just let us know, and we'll talk about it because we need things to talk about. Keir, thank you for your time. Thank you for your effort putting together this great event.
Well, thank you, and I will want to just add on this. I will say at our last 40K tournament, we had like 8 people show up. So there is some correlation there. So, keep shouting it out. We appreciate you.
We will. Thank you.